Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am Sam, I'm an artist and a knitting designer based in the Republic of Ireland. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, literally everywhere, just looking for Irish farm art. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is my kind of a weekly knitting podcast or knitting vlog in which I talk about my finished projects, works in progress, acquisition, and literally everything that is going on in my knitting endeavor on the light of probably an artist's point of view, and which is quite different from every other knitting podcast that I've seen out there, and I really wanted to bring to you this different type of feeling. I really hope you are well, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for your support. It's been a very short run, but really brilliant so far, and this really means a lot to me. I don't really have much this week to talk about, but I really wanted to touch base and say hi before the Christmas break. I am, in fact, flying back home to Italy to visit my family next Sunday, if I'm right. And I will be staying there for the entire month of December, coming back the first week of January. Taking some time off, enjoying my family, lovely food, my friends, and doing some skiing as well. I come from a very beautiful part of Italy at the very bottom of the Dolomites up in the north. As you can imagine, Dolomites are like a big ski heaven, and I really can't wait to get back on my skis and just enjoy the snow and the beautiful scenery. So, in terms of finished works, I really don't have much this week, but first of all, let me talk about what I'm wearing. This is my Marius number 10 jumper from Sandnes Gran, which is knitted in Drops Charisma, a 100% DK yarn. I will put, of course, all the information about the pattern on the screen now and perhaps below in the description if that would help you. As I mentioned, I was really fond of this jumper and I knitted a lot of Mariuses, all the different numbers and styles, all from Sandnes. This is a proprietary pattern and they have, I believe, a patent on the pattern itself. But I can't complain. I love patterns from Sandnes and they fit absolutely beautifully, and this is one of my favorites. This is the classic one, which has a boat neck, which I modify a little bit in a rocky type of trial to make the neck fit a little bit better on me. And I added some short rows on the neck, which are a little messy, I found, but this was one of my first jumpers, so I'm really happy with the result, and it has a lot of kind of emotional attachment now. The yarn itself, I have talked extensively about my feelings on Drops Charisma. It's a really affordable yarn and you can get a large quantity without spending millions, but at the same time it's a really scratchy, and I have a very low tolerance in terms of scratchiness on my skin, so I always have to wear a t-shirt underneath or a shirt or something that of course avoid or help avoiding the scratchiness. If I go back, I probably would look for a less scratchy, more soft, more woolly type of DK yarn. And if you have any recommendation for me for a good sturdy DK yarn that is good for color work and is not scratchy, please let me know. I am finding really difficult to find a yarn that is that has all these qualities and as well works well with color work. A lot of yarns that I found are very slippery or droopy, and the stitches don't really get any definition, so it's quite of a works in progress as well. Anyway, this is the Marius. I really hope you are not sick of me talking about Mariuses all the time, but I really love it, and this will come with me to Italy and will be probably my main garment for the skiing trips and the season. I think you can't get any better than this for skiing. The second pattern, or the second project that I finished this week, and once again, if you're following me on Instagram, you're probably sick of seeing this project, but here we go. These are the Wicklow mittens, Wicklow reversible mittens, as known as the easiest reversible mittens in the world. So before getting into the pattern, let me give you some background on these mittens. By the way, I apologize for the lighting situation. We have here in Ireland Storm Barra, which is basically destroying everything, and it's extremely dark outside, so I couldn't benefit from the lighting, and I'm trying to use my ring light, which is extraordinarily difficult and it's blinding me completely, but hopefully we'll get through this. So back on the mittens. I was on a trip to Wicklow, which are the mountains here in Ireland. It's a county, of course, and it's extremely beautiful. A giant, massive natural park with amazing hikes, walks, and the wildlife is beautiful there, and the scenery is fantastic. So every time I can, I just sneak off Dublin and go into Wicklow to just enjoy some downtime. So I was there hiking, extremely freezing, as you can imagine. The storm was just about to come, and yeah, it's winter generally, so it's cold, of course. And I was looking for some gloves in the local shops there, and everything that they had were mittens, like regular traditional mittens, full mittens, or regular traditional gloves, even gloves with touch screen possibility for using your phone or your camera. So I got one of those, but I found myself over and over taking off my gloves, using the camera, using my phone, putting the gloves back, and being basically frozen at the end of the day with all this taking off and on, which was crazy. I, of course, look for some of these reversible mittens, which are basically mittens that have a hood and close back, and you can open and allow your hand to be free to use your camera or your phone. And it was really difficult to find. I didn't find any really available in the shops over here. Buying online is something that I tend to avoid if I can, but even so, I couldn't really find anything that was made out of natural fibers. If I have to spend money on a good pair of gloves, I really would like them to be natural and sustainable and good quality material that would last me for years to come. Everything was basically made out of nylon or synthetic fibers, which is not something that I'm keen on, especially since I started this knitting experience. I raised a little bit of my knitting awareness, or my fiber awareness. So I came home, I went on Ravelry, I tried to look for reversible mittens patterns, and there are tons out there, but the thing that I was really annoying me is that 99% of the patterns that I could find, they describe or prescribe to knit the body of the mitten first, so the hand, and then the hood, and then of course sew the hood on the mittens to get the little flap that you can close. So I took pen and paper and I was like, let's try and figure out a way to make this mitten in one piece without any seam. And the result is here. It's available in my Ravelry shop from last week, basically, and it's always been quite popular, and it's already been quite popular, so I'm really happy with that. So on the pattern itself, or on the design of the mitten itself, You have the body of the mittens and the hood. Your thumb is open, as you can see, for easy access to your phone or your camera eventually. So you can really hold your phone and text or operate it while you're wearing the glove, which doesn't give you any bother. And then you can unveil the rest of the hand and get full working possibility with your fingers. And then of course you can put it back and then you get a complete mitten. The way this is knitted, you basically start from the wrist and do a 6 centimeter-ish of ribbing. This is 1 by 1, but I put a possibility of doing different type of ribbings as well, depending of course, your taste and your style. Then you would knit a piece of the hand, leaving the stitches for the thumb opening on waste yarn, and you will pick up a number of stitches that I'm not going to tell you, but they are in the pattern, to create the ribbing on the top of your hand, so the opening here. I decided to put some ribbing so it's a little bit sturdy and hugs a little bit better your fingers. On the new stitches that you pick up, you add the same number of stitches to start knitting in and around the flap as well. So everything basically is connected and there's no sewing needed, which I found it's a very clever way to produce a pair of gloves, and it's really simple as well. I don't understand why nobody really before came up with this idea. Rather than knitting different pieces and sewing them back together, just knit all in one, it's fine. So the hood itself has a little bit of a cable. You know me, I'm not a cable person, and I was thinking of putting a color work on the mitten. But these will be gloves that I use, and I have used them over and over and over so many times already, and I use them with more formal wearing, with more sporty wearing, so putting a big color work didn't really work for my taste. So I kind of found that a plain one color is probably the best way to go in this occasion, but maybe in the future we'll make some mittens with color work for more sporty type of wear. The cabling, it's very simple. You know me, I'm not a cabling person, I have not much experience in cabling, and I've found this in one of those Japanese cabling dictionary, which is just really nice. All the instruction about how to build a mitten and how to do the cabling are in the pattern as well. I decided not to draw a schematic representation of the ribbing of the cable because I'm really bad at following them, and I feel like explaining how to cable is so much easier than looking at a chart, basically. So here they are, my new Wicklow mittens. They are for sale in my Ravelry shop. They are extremely warm and they are absolutely the easiest thing I've knitted so far. Taking them off, I would like to talk a little bit about the yarn I've used and the materials I used. So first of all, if you can see the yarn, it's a very woolly type of situation. I use Jameson's and Smith, which is 100% Shetland wool, and it's absolutely gorgeous. This color here is number 118, it's called Moss, and of course it really reminds a little bit of moss color and as well the texture of moss. It's a really fluffy and really sticky as well, which helps a lot with your cables. This is a 2-ply yarn, 125 meters per 25 grams. So you get quite a bit of value out of this yarn. One little skein is about €4 in Ireland, and I bought it directly from the sellers, from the makers, and with some shipping didn't cost too much, so I'm really happy with that. I know that Brexit is coming fast and furious, so from January probably the price abroad, at least in mainland Europe, it will be a little bit higher, but I was supposed to make a jumper out of this, so I have a very, very large quantity of this yarn. I used a combination of 2.5 and 2.75 needles, 2.5 for the ribbing and 2.75 for the rest of the hand, and of course a cabling needle. But if you are more familiar with cabling or an advanced knitter, you may just want to forget about the cabling needle and use those techniques that allow you to cable without a cabling needle, which is completely fine. Eventually, at some stage in my life, I will get to that point to be able to use it. So that is it for my finished work, the Wicklow mittens, aka the easiest reversible mittens in the world. I don't know now if we should move into works in progress, whips, or this is finished work, because I made this. This is a Christmas ball from Arne and Carlos, and this is just a prototype. I'm going to try and explain myself a little bit, starting from the very beginning. So, last week I got this lovely book, which is the 55 Christmas Balls from Arne and Carlos, and you know that I'm really fond of Arne and Carlos. They are amazing, both on YouTube and as designers, and their products are fantastic. So I wanted to challenge myself and get the 55 Christmas balls. On the top of this, I got all of them other Christmas balls that I published during the years on Christmas calendars, advent calendars, mini Christmas balls, and every single one of them, and I'm not kidding. And I have about 155 Christmas balls all together now to knit. And I really hope Arne and Carlos will come up with more balls, because I seriously don't know where I am going to fit them all, but I set to myself the little challenge of knitting them all. So this is a prototype, because, as I mentioned, I'm going back to Italy on Sunday, and I'm gonna stay there for about a month. And I really wanted to bring this project with me, as it's very small, requires a minimal amount of yarn, and I can just knit alone in my room where I'm there, or bring it around the mountains or the trips, and just something really easy to bring about. Of course, this will go towards Christmas, and then after Christmas, and in the next year, so I really feel like this project will be ending, hopefully, by next Christmas. But it's nice to start on Christmas time. So, looking at the yarn I had in stock here in my stash, I only could find this yarn here, which is Drops Fable, 75% wool and 25% nylon. Is a sock yarn. It's 4-ply, so it's very thin, but really sturdy. And most important, if you know me, it's really inexpensive. So making a lot of balls, this will just be the yarn. And also the fact that I really can't go to a yarn shop or buy online in this couple of days that I have left here in Ireland. I'm quite busy in work and other stuff happening, so I had to peek into my stash and see what I had, and the only available in the color that I wanted was Drops Fable. I knitted this ball using 2.5 millimeters needles, which is fine and recommended by the yarn company, but at the same time, if you can see the what you call it, the ball here, it's a little bit loose. The fabric is very loose and I don't like it, basically. So the prototype is good to understand how to knit one of these, and good to understand the yarn and yarn capabilities, needles requirement, and to understand if I really like this type of situation. So I found that the ball came out really big and the fabric really loose, so you can really see all the little tiny mistakes there, which is not something that I want on my Christmas tree anytime soon. It was really much fun to knit, but I decided to go down a needle size, and I am now using 2 millimeters needles, which gives you such a better and more sturdy fabric. I don't know if the camera can pick this up. I really hope so. It's the definition of the stitches is so much better, and the size as well is actually so much nicer. It's a more compact balls, more sturdy, and hopefully will keep the shape. Also because this one, now it's a little wet because I tried to squish it a little bit to felt a tiny bit of yarn that didn't really work. Yeah, as you can see, the fabric hasn't got the sturdiness to keep the ball in the round shape. So yeah, 2 millimeter needles all the way. The only complaint that I have is that they are extremely fiddling, and I only have these very tall needles, very long needles. They are 20 centimeters, and for this ball you probably would need a 15 or even 10 centimeter needles, which I may be able to find in Italy, hopefully. I'm not quite familiar with the knitting scene over there, but I think there is a yarn shop by the place where my family lives, so I might go and check them out there. It's very fiddly, especially the very beginning where you have to make the little 3 stitches round type of situation, which is quite annoying. Overall, to knit this ball, it took me an hour and a half without stopping. So it's not really a crazy amount of work, and it's just basically half of a movie or a TV series episode worth of time, which is good. To fill this ball, because I am really leaving everything to the very last minute, I couldn't find any wool or proper filling. So the thing that I use is basically this old pillow here. I literally rip a hole in the pillow and took some of this synthetic fluff that came inside the pillow to stuff the ball. I know that this is not recommended by Arne Carlos. They would prefer natural wool for all the quality of the wool. But I only got this one at home, and I wanted to get rid of these pillows as they are too stiff for my liking. Thank God I haven't, because now I have 2 pillows worth of stuffing, which is absolutely great. And yeah, so this project will be with me for the entire duration of my holidays in Italy, and eventually next year into the ramp up for next Christmas. So we have 152 balls to knit together, and I will make sure to keep you updated with every single one of them. I will probably look into getting some decay yarn as well in order to be able to get bigger and smaller balls to get some variety, because I feel like these 2mm needles will create a fairly small ball altogether. If you can see here, this is basically the maximum of the circumference of the ball. I won't increase any more following the pattern. So comparing to this one is significantly smaller, which is fine. But with some decay yarn in the same colors, hopefully we'll get some variety. Anyway, that is it for works in progress as well. So once again, if you're interested in knitting these balls, check out Arne Carlos 55 Christmas Balls to knit, or as well their website arnecarlos.com, in which they basically have additional bundles of balls for the Christmas time, and it's so much fun to knit, and they are so well explained in the book with all the techniques and amazing pictures as well of their life in Norway, which is always very good. So that was it for my works in progress as well. As I told you, I don't have much of a update this week, but I really hope you don't mind. I do have though some acquisitions. I didn't buy yarn because, as I just said, I really don't have the time to go into a yarn shop. They are quite far from here, and I don't want to buy them online because they wouldn't come in time for me before leaving. But I got 2 books here which are absolutely a revelation, and I think they are necessary for your knitting experience or knitting library. First one is the Increases and Decreases book by Judith Durant, which is published by Story. And this is basically a knitting dictionary with all the type of increases and decreases that you can get for your knitting world. And she gives you a lot of examples and instruction about different type of increases, decreases, how to achieve shapes and how to achieve motifs as well in your increases or decreasing rounds, which is absolutely brilliant, especially if you, like me, kind of touch a little bit into creating your own patterns, or you want to modify a pattern or understand a little bit better how to do a specific type of decrease or a specific type of increase. So this is amazing. And in the same type of edition, I got this as well. This is about custom. Apologies, my camera of course decided to run out of battery, but we were talking about this book. This is about cast on and bind offs from Leslie Ann Bester, and is published again by Story. It's the same type of situation with different type of instruction. I'm sorry for the glare, it's so annoying, but different type of instruction on how to of course cast on and bind off, how to make beautiful edges. And this is really vital because I personally, but I know so many other knitters that are following me or that I follow, we only use one type of bind of cast on and just a couple of types of bind off, just because it's easier. And when you start a new work, you just cast on as you're used to, and you don't even think about all the possibilities of casting on. So this is really, really, really necessary because it opens an entire world of possibilities for your edges. For example, my jumpers are always cast off in the same way. Knitting one and putting the last needle on top of the one before, and so on and so forth. So you know the trigger, which creates a quite stiff cast off, and it's really not really nice to see. So I was excited to get this book in order to really go back on my knitted garments and redo the cast off, or to use them for future projects. So bind off a cast off, and increases and decreases. These are two vital books, and I'm really happy they are now part of my library as well. So that was a lot of talking. I really hope you enjoyed this little podcast. If you have any suggestions for me, any recommendation, especially for a nice DK yarn, woolly, that is not scratchy but works well with color work, please leave a comment down below in the description. I wish you all Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, and please stay safe, have a wonderful time, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.